guys, and welcome back to my channel, the Tanya Takeover, where I'm your girl Tanya, and today we're going to be talking about being an entrepreneur. What is it, and is it worth it? Now, being an entrepreneur means a lot of different things for different people, and I feel like sometimes we're starting to use that term loosely. I feel like a lot of us are saying, you know, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be an entrepreneur, but what is an entrepreneur? Do you really know? Okay, I know that if I could have taken that up in school, entrepreneurship, I would have been there, but unfortunately for me, they did not offer it. So I just jumped in and said, I want to be an entrepreneur without fully understanding what it is. So let's go over the definition because I had to look this one up. Okay, so what does it mean to be a successful entrepreneur? The definition of a successful entrepreneur is a person with his passion, determination, persistence, and right attitude takes the initiative, generates an idea, and develops a product or service which can be sold in the market. He or she can transform his or her vision into reality and is focused on achieving their goals. Okay, so basically I'm taking that as an entrepreneur is just somebody who takes initiative to grow their business. And I feel like a lot of us go into it, but you don't know all that it entails. That went into being an entrepreneur. I mean, I definitely still would have done it, but I would have taken my time. Make sure I researched what I wanted to do. Make sure I had a more solid plan and idea instead of just jumping headfirst into it. But today we are going to go through it because, guys, you're going to learn from my mistakes, my wins, my losses. You're going to learn from it all. So let's get into the video. So first and foremost, I feel like an entrepreneur is a self-starter. Now, generally speaking, I'm coming from a nursing background. So when it was time to actually quit my jobs and go into having my own business, I didn't realize that it takes a certain amount of motivation to grow your business and start your business. Of course, I had an idea, I had a dream, you know, that my business was gonna make $1 million the first year. I was gonna be super successful in my big mansion, in my, you know, my Rolls Royce somewhere. But honestly speaking, being an entrepreneur takes work. You have to be a self-starter. You have to be somebody who, when everybody is going out and traveling and, you know, going to events, you have to be that person that bows out and says, you know what, I gotta handle my business. A self-starter is somebody who doesn't need an alarm to get started. They don't need a manager over them pushing them, because in all reality, you're not gonna get that. You're not gonna have somebody behind you saying, you know what, did you do your work? You know, did you do this for your marketing? Did you get your inventory? Did you organize it? You have to be the beginning and end of your business, and a lot of people are not used to that. You're used to a manager, you're used to having to clock in at 9 to 5. Even something different for me like YouTube, it takes time for me to say, okay, wait, I should be recording. Nobody's gonna tell me to go record. Nobody's gonna tell me to pull out that camera. Nobody's telling me to, you know, just sit down and do what I need to do. I have to be that person, and I have to be the person who ultimately determines whether I'm gonna win or am I gonna lose. Am I gonna fail or am I gonna excel? That all comes down to me. So I think before you go into entrepreneurship, definitely realize that you have to be a self-starter. And of course, there's different ways to help you on this quest, whether it's put yourself on a schedule. Say that, you know, you're going to do inventory and stock on Monday. You're going to work on your marketing on Tuesday. You're going to take pictures for your brand on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Just having an idea and a schedule really helps me out. That's how I keep track on whether I'm going to work on my daycare on Monday, or I'm going to work on the clothing on Tuesday and my YouTube on Wednesday, because it gets to be a lot. Being an entrepreneur means you have different venues, different things coming in, and it all depends on you. So definitely being a self-starter would be the first thing that I suggest any future entrepreneur definitely make sure they have down packed. Make sure that you have a schedule, an idea, a goal, so that you can get started achieving success as soon as possible. Okay, so next thing, to be an entrepreneur, you have to fail in order to grow. Now, what this means is that the average entrepreneur has started 15 businesses, has had 15 ideas on a business that they want to launch, and maybe it didn't work out, maybe it did, maybe it just wasn't the right time. I can tell you a story, like me and Sophia, my business partner, we come up with business plans constantly. We're always thinking of new and innovative ways to make money, bring in an income, things that we might enjoy, things that, things that we see that is lacking in the market. We have thought of everything from, I remember right before the pandemic, we were actually looking into event spaces. We had everything written up, drawn up to do this event space, because what goes along with children's clothes, children's wear, children and kids is, of course, party planning, just doing birthdays and bar mitzvahs, things like that. But ultimately, because of the pandemic, we weren't able to go through with it. We got everything situated. We had contractors. We had, the idea, the business plan, down payment, everything that we needed. But ultimately, it wasn't the right time. So for any future entrepreneur, I just like to tell this story because we started so many things and, thought of so many ideas, whether it was home care or nursing home or daycare or having our event space. We were always thinking of the next thing. While we had our daycares, we never stayed in one spot. We were always thinking 5 steps ahead. What else can we do? How can we expand this? Where can we take this market? How can we expand this market to bring everything in together, tie everything that we like to do, we loved and have a passion for together? So that's exactly what we did, and some things worked and some things didn't. So that gets you thinking. An entrepreneur is always thinking of the next step ahead. Some of the ideas and things that we had, maybe we gave up, or maybe we underestimated the amount of overhead it would need. Maybe it would need too much payroll, or maybe the rent wasn't conducive to their profit. Maybe the cost of build out was going to be too much. There are different things that go into planning a business. It's not all about just jumping for it and having a down payment and running towards the business. All of this has to be thought about, planned out, so that you go into it smart. When we started talking about building businesses, I never would have thought we would have had daycares and clothing lines, but eventually we made it through. There's always something that sticks. And don't be afraid to just shout out your ideas to people who are supportive of you. A lot of people have great ideas, but I feel like they get stumped or they never see it through because it's gonna take work. If being an entrepreneur is easy, everybody would be an entrepreneur. They would be checking entrepreneur off their resume as they go along. But it's not easy. Everybody is not going to be able to say they're an entrepreneur. Even your mindset has to change in order to be an entrepreneur, because you have to think for yourself. You have to think of the next step going forward. You just have to have that initiative to keep going, keep striving for what you want and what you have a passion for. Next thing to consider, being an entrepreneur takes risk. I wish somebody would have told me this in the beginning. You're not going to get out what you put in the first year. It's about being determined in your passion that you have for what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying that you won't ever make it back, but it's a risk. You might not make all your money back until the 3rd or 4th year that you started your business. But it's worth the risk to have something that's yours, that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into, and that you can reap all the benefits from. Life is risky, let's be honest. You don't always get what you put out of everything. Relationships are risky. I'm just saying, you're not always gonna get out what you put in. But at least with a business or being an entrepreneur, eventually you're going to figure it out. You're going to figure out how to make your business work better. You're going to figure out how to make it work smarter, how to fix your marketing, how to bring eyeballs in front of your product. You're going to figure all of this out, and it's through research and just having the passion to look it up, to research and keep trying. Everything in life is a risk, but this risk might be the actual one that's going to make you a millionaire. Is it worth it? Next thing to consider being an entrepreneur is your finances aren't stable. Okay. So when I first started my businesses, I was used to making a certain amount every 2 weeks. Whether it rained, it snowed outside, whether, I was sick for a week, I always made the same amount every 2 weeks. Now coming into a business where everything begins and ends with me, and before I get paid, I have to make sure that everything else is paid, was very difficult for me. And it's difficult for a lot of people. So I would never suggest you just quitting your job, quitting your 9 to 5 to rush into being an entrepreneur. That's the whole point of this episode, to show you guys that there's a lot of things that goes into being an entrepreneur, and just be prepared for it. Now, being as your income is going to be unstable, make sure that you are having the right amount of savings before you jump into your business. You have to have money for your business to start it, and money just as a cushion just in case. Maybe you need money for a credit card bill, or or something additional for your rent. You never know what's gonna come up, so make sure you always have a cushion. With being an entrepreneur, your income could have highs and lows. Like for my daycare as an example, our highs are between July and September. Why? The older children are out of school, so we run a summer program, which therefore brings in more kids into our daycare. But after September to a few months, we have our lows. So when you're having your highs, you have to account for your lows. Make sure you're saving something extra to make up for the low points you're gonna have in your months. And this is how you prepare yourself and keep your business stable. Once you have a plan, there's nothing you cannot do. In a regular job, you're gonna have highs and lows. In any industry, you're gonna have highs and lows. Being an entrepreneur is the only one where your highs could be maybe triple or quadruple your lows, and doesn't that make up for it? I mean, but stable isn't always a good thing. You could have a steady income making $20,000, or you could have an unsteady income making $70,000 to $100,000. You decide. Next thing to consider, being an entrepreneur can be a big responsibility, a huge responsibility. Right now, you are working in your job, and maybe you are in charge of one set part of your job. Maybe you're in charge of marketing. Maybe you're in charge of payroll, HR, whatever it may be. Being an entrepreneur, you are in charge of everything. Your accounts payable, you're a loan shark, your customer service, you are marketing, you are checking stocks and inventory. Everything falls on you, making you the leader and making you the person that you go to when all else fails. And that can be very huge and overwhelming to some people. Some people are gonna rise to the occasion. You never know what you can handle until you get into that situation. And you might realize that you thrive being a leader, you thrive being a boss, you thrive being the owner of a business where everything falls back on you. So if that marketing isn't done right, you only have yourself to blame. If you are so busy on the couch watching Netflix and your inventory doesn't go out, that falls on you. You have nobody else to blame. So it is a big responsibility, but ultimately, at the end, you're gonna realize that your passion is what is gonna determine whether you succeed or not. Next thing, competition. Oh my gosh, competition. Now, this could be a healthy competition or a unhealthy competition. But whatever it is, just know that you're not going to be the only person that comes out with the eyelash business. You're not the first person to come up with that waist trainer or that hair company or whatever it is. Just know that you're going to have competition everywhere you go, and that's okay. It's going to force you to think outside the box. It's going to force you to make sure that you stand out and your brand stands out, and this is a good thing. When you have competition, it makes you step up to your A game, so you can stand out from the crowd and not look like everybody else. So when everybody's going pink, you're gonna go black or teal. When everybody else is going high, you're gonna go low. You're gonna think of different ways to bring people to your product. Maybe your product is hair, and with each bundle, you're gonna throw in a moisturizer or a comb, just so that everybody's gonna stop looking at Exhibit A and come to your product. And that's what's gonna keep you on top as an entrepreneur. Now listen, at the end of the day, I left a very stable job to be an entrepreneur where the instability of everything was very scary and very overwhelming. So at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur gives you the freedom to travel, to spend more time with friends, family, just make your own schedule and just do the things that you want to do on your time. And I feel like something like that is priceless. Don't quit your 9 to 5 just yet, but start looking towards that business idea that you've been thinking about. Start making steps towards that, inkling that you had in your head that maybe I would be good at, cooking or baking or whatever it is. Think about it and start moving in that direction. Start taking a little hour out the day, 2 hours out the day to start working on your business, researching your field, seeing what others before you have done. I never saw myself as a leader. I never saw myself as somebody that others would go to on how to start a business or how to be an entrepreneur. But people are seeing in me what I didn't see in myself. And that is the whole point of this channel, to show you guys that I've been there. I've been where you are. Well, I've been at that job where I was tired and I didn't want to go anymore. I've been there when I, wanted just a day off and I just couldn't get that day off because I would get written up. I've been there, guys, and I'm telling you that being an entrepreneur, I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world, and that you can do it too. I've been on the other side of the screen watching somebody else build their business saying, this should be me. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but this is your little push, your little shove in the right direction towards being an entrepreneur and starting that business. Take an hour a day, take 2 hours a day, and get started. Start researching, start writing things down, ideas and a strategy and a plan, and be deliberate with the steps you're taking towards running your business. Let me know, guys, are you gonna start your business in 2021? Like, what are we doing? What are we waiting for? As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe at the bottom, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.